Judy's like, there she is. And we look across the con floor, and Aisha is coming towards us. And you were wearing a white suit. And I tell people the story, and I was like, it was like I heard angels singing. Because you were like coming, because you're so tall, and you're in this white suit, and the crowd is parting. And I'm like, who is this? And it was the most amazing entrance to meet you.
Oh my God. They were only parting so they didn't get trampled because I'm just very large.
Here I come.
Didn't want to lose a toe. I do remember that white suit. I was very proud of myself that I didn't get any ketchup or fingerprints on it that day. Like, that was my main goal.
Totally.
Was not to stain myself. We didn't know each other. The cast just didn't know each other. We never worked together. And I remember just being delighted by like how everybody got on so well and how funny everybody was. And like, I just remember feeling very like delighted by being together with these people who I had no idea about other than like their brilliant work on the show.
100%. Yeah. And it was, and I always say like, we all loved each other and still do because we never actually had to work together. So it was
never spent any time together at all. So we really have no sense of who the other people are. Just in like, we're all just completely fantastical.
Yeah. This is the best situation.
I used to describe it to people because like, we work together so infrequently that whenever we do get together, it's just like a basket of like drunk golden retriever puppies. Just everybody like yelping and saying fuck. And then it's over.
It's done. And I do think that like we really got closer when we started doing the Archer Live little tour that we did, which I think was during season 3 or after season 3 or something.
I want to say it was 5, but Casey
knows the
answer.
Yeah, maybe it was.
Casey knows the answer to everything.
I don't know if I officially know, but I think it was before 5 because
5 was Vice, right?
Yeah.
5 was Vice.
When did Lucky get to be in the credits? Because one of the big things that happened on Archer Lives is that Lucky would come to warm up the crowd, and he would make people record it, and he would make them chant like, put Lucky in the opening credits, and he said he was going to send it to the head of FX.
It's so funny.
It might have been like between season 4 and 5.
That's like it was 3, 4, 5, right around there somewhere.
Yeah. When did we start running a Banana Republic? That was 5, or was it the end of 4?
Oh man.
Banana Republic was 5.
5. Okay. I agree. I think it was before then. I think it might have been like between 3 and 4.
Yeah. And we did. It was so fun. I mean, it was crazy. And it was not everybody because Judy never was able to do it. But it was you, me, Chris, Lucky, and John, right?
It was almost all of us. Yeah. It was almost all of us. It was so fun and so disgusting. I loved it so much. We had an ASL translator for like a lot of the shows, and then the delight was just like, can we make this ASL person do horrible things with their fingers? So at one point we were just talking about like a giant pussy, and she had to use both of her arms to make like a vagina that was like the size of like a human tunnel. It was so great. It was so great. Like I was so proud of us. We're complete assholes. Like we're terrible. And it was remember Fake Archer?
Yes, and that was like Pittsburgh or something, Philadelphia.
No, it was Philadelphia, I think.
And he was so great. We got a model that looked like Archer, and he showed up, and he was so nervous, I guess, or just a drunk man. And he drank so much fucking, and it was our alcohol, right? Like somebody had brought a bottle of like makeup.
Amber's like, and let me point out for the record, this alcohol belonged to us.
This is us.
Okay.
And he like passed out in front of a door so that like we had to like jam the door open and slide his body out of the way so we could get into the backstage area.
I feel like Thompson's responsible for that in some way.
He must be.
How could he not be? How could he not be?
Because if it wasn't him, it would have been Thompson.
We're very friendly, and I feel like we were always really nice to everybody. But like, it's just, it's the show, and then there's all the people that you know from the show, and they're in a room together, and it's just instantaneous barbs, right? Everyone's just like taking shots at each other all night. It's just like there's not even any setup. It's just punch on punch on punch on punch on punch line. And then here's this guy in his tactile neck. He's frightened for his life. I would have done shots too, for the record.
He was so attractive and so scared. That poor young man.
I didn't get to go to a couple of them, so I don't know.
Did you miss that one?
Maybe I missed that one. Thankfully. But what was crazy was...
Because you would have kept Matt Thompson from making that poor man drink.
Oh, Casey would have kept everything on the rails. Come on, guys.
It's very hard to keep him.
Casey, middle name, on the rails.
So, I remember the very first one was like at a club in like Silver Lake or something.
Yeah.
It was small. It was a very small venue. And then the one I remember the most is the Chicago Theater, which we had no right being in, but it was a beautiful old-timey theater.
Yeah.
And it was like, there was a lot of people there.
Yeah.
So to go from the first Archer Live being in like a punk rock club to that was a cool...
And we got to do the Ryman Auditorium.
Yeah,
I didn't get to do Ryman.
What I didn't know is that at the Ryman, that there is one guy that makes all the posters.
Oh, wow.
And so you're not coming in with your like artwork if you're a band or whoever you are. And so he makes posters for every event. So we got an Archer poster made by the guy that makes all the Ryman Auditorium posters. And it was so incredibly cool.
For everybody out there who doesn't read, which is probably everybody out there, Ryman Auditorium is also better known as the Grand Ole Opry. So, like a lot of history there and a really magical building, and we just defiled it with our bullshit.
I know, we were the worst show ever.
We did the Fillmore too, right? In San Francisco?
We did the Fillmore. We were so cool.
What
else did we do? Then we did that like crazy like Houston convention center that was like out in the middle of nowhere.
Okay,
where Thompson's family came and then he got hammered. Well, that was every one of them.
I just feel like every store is gonna be like, and then we got so hammered. We had a very short list of demands, right? I think it was just a bottle of whiskey. That was it.
Yeah.
Like that was all we did. Our rider just had a bottle of Maker's Mark in it that we drank on stage. Just to stick it to the man. My favorite, I have so many favorite stories, but there was this one for a while for these shows. What we would do is people would cosplay, and then we would pick the best costumes, and then they could come up and they could do a scene from the show with us, which was rad. And we had this big cardboard box that was like dressed up like the Bombin's Titanic, and it was so fun. Literally watching the episode again, I think I was reminded more of when we would do it live than when I actually recorded the show.
Totally.
Because we would be, like faking it and everything. It was so fun. Anyway, he brought these two people up and they were backstage, and it was a woman who I think was dressed like Pam. And she goes to him, "Is it always this fucked up?"
Yes, it is. Yes.
Yes, it is.
Oh my God.
That's one of my proudest moments as an artist. Is that woman saying that?
You literally would shoot people in the testicles with a t-shirt can. And they would want it. They would be like, "Give it to me."
We had a t-shirt cannon, air propelled t-shirt cannon, and if you let us shoot you in the dick with it, you could have a t-shirt. I don't really think that these are like commensurate rewards for the injury inflicted. And people were dying to get hit in the dick with a t-shirt.
It was 2014. It was a different time. Yeah.
It was a different time. It was pre-Me Too. It was pre-Me
When people
Too.
craved getting hit in the dick with something.
People were just dying to get punched in the balls. Oh my God.
I'm Amber Nash, the voice of your favorite HR nightmare, Pam Poovey. We're doing an Archer rewatch podcast because I don't have a job anymore. This season, each episode is hosted by me and a guest co-host from the main cast. We will be breaking down fan and cast favorite episodes out of order, so get used to it. Welcome to Rephrasing. I'm going to read the synopsis of the episode that we're going to talk about today, so that everybody remembers what it is. Skorpio is the 6th episode of the first season of Archer. It originally aired on February 11th, 2010. Archer must rescue Lana from the clutches of Spiridon Skorpio, the infamous arms dealer. Meanwhile, Cyril fears not only for his girlfriend's life, but her succumbing to the seductive nature of Archer's heroics. All the while, Malory is on a date with Nikolai Jakov while keeping an eye on Archer, Lana, and Skorpio aboard the Argo. What an episode.
It was. It is a classic. It is a classic.
Really is.
I watched it again and I took some notes because I like to do my homework. And what I remember very vividly was how impeccable the very first season of Archer was. Like how it already knew exactly what it was as a show and how clear it was. Some shows, they take a while to hit their stride. but I just feel like, oh yeah, like you understood the show so well, so quickly when you were watching it, and that is a testament to the people making it that they just had such clarity.
Totally. I had forgotten about how fucking great season 1 was because I hadn't watched it in so long. Excellent. And I was like, oh, well, we really hit our stride in like season 2 or 3, and it's like, no, season 1 was like hit the ground running. Yeah,
it was excellent. I remember that when we made the show, and then the first ad campaign ran, and there was a scene where Aisha was standing in an alley. He was smoking, and then this pregnant lady was sitting next to him, and she's like, "Do you mind?" And he goes, "Well, I'm not really into pregnant chicks, but I'll give it a try." I think that was like the gist. I think that was like the gist of the joke. I was like, "Oh, so this is what we're doing? Oh, this is what? Okay, all right, I get it now."
Totally.
So extreme.
Yeah, and I had forgotten, honestly, until I started watching episodes again, how much, like, Lana's body and particularly her boob movement, they move independently of the rest of her body. Like, they're constantly jostling or being jostled.
Yeah. Well, and Skorpio was just all tits and ass, right? I was in my underwear. I also forgot how much, like, Lana was in her underwear in that first season.
Yeah. You're not Fiachi. Oh my God.
And Archer too, right? There's that whole machine gun scene where it's just like asses jiggling, tits jiggling. Yes. I mean, this is like a 12-year-old's, like, AI animation wet dream.
No, an animator had made a choice there. A person made that happen.
Specificity, guys. If you want to get into comedy out there in America or elsewhere, specificity is the key. You got to really drill down. It's the details that make the bit.
And the other thing I noticed about Lana's body that I had never put together before is, particularly when she's in her regular outfit, like the sweater dress, she's always kind of cocked, to make her body look even sexier. Her shoulders are cocked up and her hips are cocked over, and I was like, it's like she's got spina bifida. Like she's never
scoliosis. She's got sexy scoliosis. Don't let anybody tell you that your spinal irregularity, it's not a deformity, it's an irregularity, isn't hot. It's fucking hot. Is one of your shoulders higher than the other one? Just jut out that booty and let them know. Come on now.
I never noticed that before.
As Christian will also know, because he and I went to the same art college. That's just classic Contrapposto.
Yeah.
Contrapposto, also known as contrapunto, to those of you who don't speak Italian. Contrapposto. I thought that her thighs were just so thick that the skirt really couldn't contain them, right? The skirt was straining to hold on. She does a lot of leg work, man. Fucking leg day. That's Lana Day. Lana Day is leg day at the gym. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God.
Yeah. Oh my God, you guys. Okay, so we went to a show at the Vortex. I feel like you were there, Amber.
Okay.
And they had the Jägermeister dispensary machine in the Vortex, and then that thing made it into the show because we did a million shots out of that thing, and then it made it into the show the next season.
Right.
And I was very proud of my irresponsible behavior making it into the narrative of the show.
Oh my God, I call Jägermeister mistake juice because of what it did to me in my early years. So I don't remember that, but I'm sure I was there.
You don't remember saying to yourself, this is good for my digestion, this is really good for my microbiome, drinking all this Jägermeister. There's herbs in it. Monks drink Jägermeister. It can't be, if God loves it, it can't be bad.
That's so true. One of the first notes I made about this episode is the line, which I'm sure that you can probably finish, which is, do you want a grandchild? Or do you want a grandkid? Archer says to Malory.
Oh, and she's like, I'm going to scrape together all your mistakes and put it in a onesie. I think that was the Malory line.
It's so good.
That was early. That was like a pure expression of kind of the Malory. I think I wrote down pure Malory and Archer combat. That scene.
Yes.
It was just pure distillation of that relationship, which we saw in the very first scene of their show, which is just these two people who are bound by biology but just loathe each other. And that whole scene was so great.
Yeah.
And I also feel like I wrote down the first line where she's like, you have to go and kill Skorpio, and he said, is diabetes busy? We're like evil. Like the show was just walled, and this is not a slam on later seasons because I think like the show just stayed excellent. It's for its life, but it was just pure punchline early on. It was just joke in the most kind of like like in a really like strategic, surgical way. Later, it got to be a little bit more about story and character, but that early season was just like how many like punchlines per page, and it was just what's great about it is you can watch it over and over again, and you're gonna laugh every time because there's just jokes that you laughed over the previous time you watched it.
Yeah, so you catch different stuff.
As an editor on Archer, there's very little air. Anytime there's any air, it's like somebody decided exactly how many seconds of pause there is.
Yeah.
It's just like, it comes fast.
And it's enviable. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say the opener ends with womp womp, which is like, that becomes a regular running thing in the show, right? Yeah.
And there were multiple instances of womp womp in that episode. It also has so many. We picked these two episodes because they're the two that just always stuck out to me as having like classic Archer lines, Archer moments, like the dynamic being set up beautifully. My favorite, we'll talk about Titanic later, but they're just the line about you were the one who was crying through the 2-man threesome. Like, just like, it was just so great. So like, there was just so much perfection. And, if you're a comedy writer, I don't know, you probably learn a lot of rules about like, what are the conventions and the rule of threes and blah, 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 blah. But I think what Archer demonstrated is if you have a really clear sense of what the show is and what your voice is, you can do whatever the fuck you want.
Totally.
And that becomes really delightful and shocking and surprising because the show often did shock and surprise you. And I think a lot of shock comedy is lazy, right? It's saying the meanest possible thing at the worst possible time. And you're surprising somebody, right? They're not laughing because it's funny. They're laughing because like they're like a fucking, like a rhesus monkey, and you surprise them while they were pooping, and they laugh out of like terror. But the show you just couldn't believe how aggressive the comedy was. And again, I don't mean mean, I just mean muscular, right? Just like relentless attack after attack in terms of just like punch.
Yeah, and there's so much underneath it, behind it, like supporting it.
And it was very literate. And it was incredibly literate, right? It was just such it was a smart show. This word that we made up at that Comic-Con was Smilthy, right? Smart and filthy.
Smilthy, I forgot about that. I love that. That would be I love to think about merch that never happened, and a Smilthy t-shirt would be great. And another t-shirt that I thought of, because we see so much of Lana in her lingerie, would have been like those bikini t-shirts, but with Lana's lingerie body. Would have been such a great piece of merch.
Casey, I invite you to call your contacts in China and get this thing sent over on a steam ship immediately. That would have sold so many. I would wear that shirt.
Me too.
I would wear that shirt. That's hilarious.
It would have been it
has to have the fiachis, and then it has to have the machine gun, right?
Yes.
It's got to have the gun. Like
her shooting and her, it's just like such an iconic visual is her in that in that scene with the machine gun in the lingerie. It's just like of course people watch this show.
Yes. Like you go from this deeply impractical mini skirt. Like I don't care about the underwear. Everybody has to wear underwear. But who's pulling up some thigh-high hose that are just going to keep falling down as you're going through your military exercises? You're trying to lay suppressing fire, and then every 2 minutes you've got to pull those stupid fucking pantyhose up because they have no garters on them. Like what's going on?
And then when she turns around, you see that her crack's kind of peeking out of the top too. So it's just like barely in there.
She's doing her best. She's doing her absolute best.
So great.
And she has some posture issues, so it's really uncomfortable.
Poor thing. Poor thing. I had no idea. One of the other hilarious things that I had forgotten about is because Cyril is so sad in this episode, and he's so worried that Lana is going to go away forever. And it's when he sends the text that says, miss you already, with the sad puppy dog.
Oh my God, amazing. I am not going to name any names, but somebody that I care deeply about sent me a picture like that very early in our friendship, and I was like, can I have sex with this person? I don't know that I can. I don't know.
Not anymore.
Sent me a picture of a golden retriever puppy scratching his claws on a tree. This is not a boner maker, boys out there.
No, boner makers are not puppy dogs.
Nope. Boilermakers, I mean, that's a really, really good way to let somebody know that you are never a threat, and also that your booty calls will be rejected.
And I like that Boilermaker is like the new Boilermaker. It should be a cocktail on every menu.
Boilermaker. It's Jägermeister. Jägermeister bomb dropped into a green Russian.
Gross.
Is a Boilermaker.
We also see, I think for the first time, Fort Kick-Ass. Like, we hear about Fort Kick-Ass for the first time.
Oh my God, that whole I wrote some complimentary things down. Nobody get your heads, don't go big heads. Which is that I loved how elegantly woven this episode was. That we were dancing between the two locations in this really balletic way. Lines were leading into other lines. It felt very seamless, and which felt like a live action show, right? It just felt very like high level kind of comedy, very thoughtful. And so in the middle of all that like rat-a-tat-a-tat machine gun punchlines was this really elegant story structure. You know, it was so good. And then I was like, see, people don't even, this isn't even a spy show. This is just a dirty ass fucking office comedy. This is like if The Office, you know, banged, I'm trying to think of a comedian that I don't loathe personally. I can't think of anybody. I can't think of anyone. I can think of a lot of people, but I don't want to name them and conjure them into existence. So, but it's like The Office fucked a really hot, funny comedian, right? Because it was just like everybody was. Krieger was doing like MSG off Cam's.
It's so funny. God, it is. So yeah, and I had forgotten too. Like, I kind of thought that maybe it became a real office comedy later, but it's like, no, from the very beginning.
The first episode, right, when the donuts hit the carpet.
Yeah.
Right? It was an office comedy.
Yeah.
It was an office comedy, absolutely. And poor Pam, who was in HR for about 3 minutes, and then we freed her from
Never again.
From that constricting cage.
I went back and read the pilot episode, and when Pam's introduced for the first time, it says Pam, the mousy director of HR. And it's like, whoa, that changed. Changed pretty quick.
Cut to her sprinting through the office like a silverback gorilla with Abogine in her arms.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so funny.
Oh my God. But it was great because the concept was so strong that it could take a lot of abuse. It could take a lot of stretching, right? It was a perfect container for, you know, because once you cared about these people, right, and you cared about their relationships, The Office could go anywhere.
Yeah.
And obviously it did.
It did go
anywhere.
Yeah.
It was great. I also was really early on when I started shooting Archer in the foot. I thought that was like way later in the series,
totally.
I started mutilating him almost immediately.
Right away.
And he was, and I should have. He goes, you know how much I hate that. Oh yeah, being shot in putting a hole through your foot. Like he just knows it's gonna slowly meld back together, and he's gonna move on with his life.
And so I didn't know when did Lana and Cyril start dating? Was that in the?
I think it was in the pilot or the second episode.
First episode they were together. So it's like Archer. They've already been a thing, and now she's dating Cyril. I think right from the pilot.
And he like, and the whole thing is like, you know, Archer is disgusted and kind of amused, and it feels like it's a revenge fuck, right? And then it's already Taco Tuesday, and then she tells him he's gonna have to get that like really like naughty porn from the nice old Chinese lady at the corner store. Like right away it goes, and it is kind of a revenge fuck. I mean, you know, the whole time during Skorpio, you're like, why is she sleeping with this guy? And I forgot it's because he was loaded, right? He was packing like serious heat.
Right.
Like unnatural heat was the reason why she was
huge.
putting up with the pictures of like the beagle and the hound dog was because the guy was packing supernatural heat and she couldn't resist it.
At one time Cheryl and Pam get into everybody's medical records and find out that Cyril tried to get a penis ensmallment surgery.
Penis ensmallment. Oh, I forgot about that.
Oh my God! Just the word is so incredible. Ensmallment. Oh my God, that's amazing.
That is so funny.
Oh God, heavy is the head that wears the crown.
Wow.
That's so funny. Yeah, because I was personally, as Aisha Tyler, disgusted. I was like, well, dump this guy immediately.
Yeah.
But again, for a later conversation about Skytanic, it did his slow degeneration generated my favorite line of the series, which is a line from your character, and we'll talk about it.
Okay, you have to wait.
Yeah, I'm just gonna give a little teaser to the kids, but one of my favorite lines ever delivered on the show is delivered by Pam in an episode of this season. Yeah.
I also wanted to point out that the boat that Malory is on with Nikolai is called the Chum Guzzler, which I had completely forgotten about, and it is so fantastic. And just, it's like those, like you said, there's so many jokes in there that it's like, you can just miss, this just goes, it's gone in a frame, and you don't even realize that it was there. It's so good.
Oh, God. I mean, she was a genius, right? Just a genius. Just so comedically, filled with just extraordinary talent and timing. Mm-hmm. And that whole scene of them on that, like, sad little boat where he's just eating, like, shish kebab. And he doesn't understand why she does. And then she just casually tells him that Archer is his illegitimate son. Like, she's just so, like, her glibness was just oozing out of the screen. It was so good.
There was, like, the thing about there being butter on the ice, and it's like, what is this? What is this? What are they even talking about?
So
why is that even in there?
But I feel like that was a real dude. That was a dude joke, because it was like, if you don't exercise discipline when you're loaded the cooler, right? Then your ice cubes like taste like hamburger, right? Like, I get it. She can't. All of it is just so beneath her. It's so uncivilized. The whole experience. And then the ne plus ultra is that her ice tastes like Russian butter.
Oh, it's so good. And you know what's funny, when you think about timing and performance, it's like, there's so many different, like in comedy, everybody's got different timing, but good timing is good timing. But then when you see somebody do it differently, like Jessica, and it's just like, fuck yes, that is even better, like more refined and more delicious. It's so good.
She was both so incredibly sophisticated, and she had such an ingenuousness that I think was also why her comedy worked so well. Like, I remember, and this was like a later season, it might have been the one where we're all locked in the apartment with the Gimp. And the Gimp and Florentine, what was the housemaid's name?
Calpurnia.
Of To Kill a Mockingbird fame. Mm-hmm. And there's like a porn sound that she has to make, and she's like, yes, this pow chicka pow pow of which you speak. And then these poor numbnuts had to constantly explain to Jessica the worst possible things, like what is a bukkake, what is teabagging. Like, with a straight face, I am the executive producer of this show, and I will now explain to you in very clear and uncertain terms what bukkake means.
It's a very dirty education that Jessica got.
Oh my God.
She usually it was dirty, but one of the cutest ones was, when somebody writes "Am I right?" all together, AMIRITE. She goes, on page 32, what is Amarite?
Oh, she's so awesome. Yes. She's the best. She's like, we've mentioned a Detroit hot plate, but then no one actually has any food after that. I'm confused.
Oh my God.
Oh.
So funny.
Yeah.
I also really loved like how sad I loved how sad and genuine Cyril was, and I wrote down the line that he says, which is, who gives a gosh darn about that? Because there's so much dirty language, and then Cyril's like so mad. He's like, well, who gives a gosh darn about that? And it's just like so perfect. It's so well balanced.
He was very earnest. Like, he was really in agony, right?
Yeah.
He didn't know what to do, and then Pam was just egging him on and completely destroying. Yeah. Oh, and then Cheryl is like, she's getting raped.
Yes.
She's getting absolutely drizzled right now, and he was just, he was like the existential agony.
So
he was
horrified.
Feeling.
So horrified.
Oh, she was another person that was just supposed to be some like passing kind of little boop, all right, and then turned into like, oh God, just both of you guys just. You were so funny, and there was just so much nuance and depth and layers to what you guys did. It was just like right away you just transformed those roles into something completely different.
Thank you. And it's so fun too to realize, and people don't always know this, that like we have no idea what other people's reads sound like, what's going to happen in the scene until we see it. Like, we have no idea what it's going to sound like. And on occasion, late in the later seasons, we would sometimes get something, played for us for timing, but that rarely ever happened.
Rarely.
Yeah.
Rarely.
It was so crazy.
Casey, you're much like my grandmother, only half of your face is in the shot.
Oh.
He's like, I can't see you. I can't. I also remember thinking, and I wrote this down, that this was also like, and we did this a lot, but that this was like a pure Bond, like James Bond episode. Like it was just spycraft, the underwater harpooning and the jet ski, and it just felt like in a fun, kind of transporting way, very Bondy. I feel like Adam at one point talked about how he got the idea for the show, and then we talked about it over the life of the show, and then I think, do you remember this, Casey, that they did an article in the New York Times, maybe Christian, you remember this too, where they talked about if James Bond had actually drank as many drinks as he's drunk over the life of the series, and he would be like incapacitated. He'd be like a vegetable. And that Adam was like, this guy that like we all kind of venerate is like a drunk and like not even a womanizer, like a sexual assaulter, right? And just like a dick and can barely do his job right. Everything's always blowing up. He's always showing up after they've killed the girl. And that this episode just purely encapsulated like that take on like Archer's take on like the spy world. And it was because I think in later episodes, he always would kind of luck into doing well. But in this one, he really, up until the end, up until the two-man threesome, he was like really Mr. Spy Pants. Like he did it. He got there, pow, 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 and did all the stuff, and it was really fun to watch.
When you read the script and you see Archer on a jet ski in a suit, you're like, oh, there's going to be an underwater fight. And that's like, the animators are going to just make that great.
And it was great. It was so, so great. And then he was just like so kind of physically competent and then so emotionally like useless in every way. But, And I wish I had known more about what had happened during the threesome. Like we saw the evidence on the wall, right? We saw like the chocolate boobs and the chocolate hand.
And it was like, what happened during those?
And Skorpio had a very delicately placed like set of lip marks and chocolate on his shoulder. Like at some point it got very demure. You know what I mean? Like that must have been Archer, because Archer was just doing his best, right? He's like, let me act like I'm participating.
Totally.
A sexually neutral part of the body, like it wasn't even up here, it was like right here, like on the guy's delt or whatever that
and
is.
Archer had like a bandage. Did he? What was that from earlier? He got shot?
Yeah, that was fun. Okay. He got shot by a freaking harpoon and threw
right. Yeah.
Get out.
Oh my
And then
God.
I shot him in his foot, but that didn't seem to incapacitate him at all.
Very early on, it was discussed that we would keep track of all the scars on Archer, and anytime he would take his shirt off, you would see them, and then that was abandoned quickly because we were like, he's gonna look like Freddy Krueger when he takes his shirt off.
He's not gonna be attractive anymore.
No.
Oh my God.
There was another.
He was.
Go ahead.
I also just think that like we kept shooting him in the same. He said it in the same exact same place over and over again. Like how is he still walking? He would have like a clubbed foot. It would just be like or like a mass of like scar tissue and like bone fragments. Just like boop, 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 boop. They'd have to have a special spy shoe made so that he could continue to
special
espionage.
spy shoe. There was a line that Pam says in the other scene where she says, that's why I don't sleep with my coworkers. And it's like, oh shit, she's going to eventually sleep with all of her coworkers. We just don't know that yet.
I feel like in the same episode, doesn't she pitch banging Lana before she leaves?
Yeah.
She's like, so it felt more like sour grapes. Well, that's why I don't sleep with my coworkers. I mean, I would, but no one has taken me up on it.
Yeah,
This is not a scrupulous line she's drawing. She's just trying to get in there.
It takes her seasons to chip away at everybody's resolve until
wear
finally.
them down, wear them all down, browbeat them into submission, like the last guy at a party.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you're here. You're still here, I guess. Points for effort. Points for effort.
There was also Topper Bottoms, which is a really great joke that Lana has. Topper Bottoms is
Was
so
that
good.
the first time we meet? No, it's the next episode. It's the next episode where we meet Gillette, right? We haven't seen.
Oh, is that right?
Ray Gillette. I think Ray Gillette comes in 7. Does that make sense?
I think he was in the earlier, right?
Yeah, his big scene is in Skytanic. I think was.
Yeah, but it's the one after this one.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
but
Right,
he was in another one because the very first time we see Gillette, he's got a completely different voice.
Right.
So he's got a very much deeper voice.
It is Adam, though, right?
It is Adam, and he says, and I think it was a line that maybe I don't remember, but he says, "One day I'm going to write a book about this place. It'll be a real smackaroony."
Macaroon.
But
I feel like though a lot of these characters they were kind of floating and then they evolved,
yes,
right? Like
yes.
poor Chet and
that scene in the ready room is Gillette's that's his shining scene.
That's his debut. He's got his crisis vest on. We'll talk about it later.
Was this the first time we hear Danger Zone?
Ooh. It's in both episodes.
Because it is. We get the Lana Danger Zone in the next episode, but I don't even remember when it's said. But I was like, it's towards the end of the episode, and I was like, is this the first time we hear Danger Zone?
But when do we? But doesn't he say? Isn't it like somewhere between 3 and 5 where he goes call Kenny Loggins? Like I feel like the Kenny Loggins line is earlier.
Has already happened. Okay.
Like you need to call Kenny Loggins because you're in the danger zone. And that's around 5. I want to say.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I have an encyclopedic memory of this show.
You actually have a much better memory.
I absolutely don't. I don't. I
than
know.
most people.
I just love it when we turn into coke dealers. That was really like
Me too.
I love the show.
So
and
fun.
then at one point we were just free as birds, traversing the globe, living the good life, and I really loved that season.
So good. And we also find out, it might be the first time that we find out about Nikolai Jakov maybe being Archer's dad. Is that true, Casey? Do you know?
Yeah, I believe so. But
I feel like up until this point, he was really embarrassed by this guy. Like Archer's disgusted that his mom has a sex life, disgusted that she has a secret lover. Like it's just super humiliating to him. Meanwhile, he's knocked up his like maid like 17 times. That was that joke. Why don't you wear? He's like, I wear a condom. She's like, why don't you wear a vasectomy? But I remember that like the jack-off thing was like a real source of shame for Archer.
Yeah.
Right? But it wasn't that she was fucking like a guy on the other side. It was just that she was like banging some old dude of any ilk. Of
any old gross dude.
That his mom had a vagina at all. It was just a source of deep shame for him. That that anybody would have touched it after he did was just. I came through it. I came through it. It should have been closed for business after that.
Curtains. So I think it might be a good time to get to Casey's trivia.
Oh man!
What do you think?
Well,
I'm gonna fail this test.
Let's start.
Do you have 3 questions? And question. What?
I have 3 questions.
And each one gets harder, correct? They are increasing in difficulty.
Correct.
And also, Aisha, going into this round, you already have 16 points.
Oh man!
I have points?
Yeah, you already have 16 points.
Wow, you've already.
Oh my god, this is so exciting.
Yeah,
I love to get a good grade, so I'm happy about points. I'm really I'm an apple polisher. I'll never not be an apple polisher. Are these questions multiple choice?
No, they are not.
Damn you, Casey!
By the way, I looked it up. Gillette's first appearance is episode 5, or the one right before this, and then Skorpio was 6. So, and then Skytanic is 7. So he had a bang, bang, bang.
But Skytanic was like his re-unveiling, right?
Correct. Yeah, he rose
his
from the
cotillion.
ashes. Oh, there you go. Pam, at one point in this episode, says to Cheryl, "Shouldn't you be off cooking a rabbit somewhere?" What is that a reference to? What 80s movie is that a reference to?
Oh my god, I can literally picture it's Michael Douglas and Glenn Close.
Yes.
But it's not, the name of that movie is not Dangerous Liaisons. I'll tell you that.
It's so close though.
It is, isn't it? Why can't I think of the name of this movie?
Adjective and entanglement.
adjective and entanglement
Yeah.
is not the name of a movie. It's the name of a 10-course tasting menu restaurant here in Southern California. Adjective and entanglement.
You're
I can
so
literally.
close.
I'm so old that I saw this movie in the theater. I know the movie that we're talking about.
You already have it right.
But I can't fucking think of the name of the movie. Dangerous Liaisons, adjective entanglement,
Right.
a deadly affair. No, that's not it.
So close. So close. You're so
Oh my
warm.
God! Why can't I think of it? This is what cell phones have done to us all, guys. AI has made us stupid. I can't answer anything without Googling it. I can't remember. I can't think of it. I can't think of the name.
It's Fatal Attraction.
Fatal Attraction.
No, I deadly affair.
I don't know that adjective entanglement really got us there, but Fatal Attraction.
I'm going to give
It's
you
so
10
funny.
points for that answer.
That's nice.
though. 10
Nice.
points.
I was able to describe the context. That's how I get to my answers now. I'm like, it's a man. It's outside. Slowly work my way in from the outside. All right.
This one, if you
Exciting.
get close, you get points. How many islands make up Greece?
Oh.
Ooh. In the Ionian Sea, there's a constellation of shining jewels of the Mediterranean. There are 133. I have no idea.
Okay,
Okay.
170 are inhabited, but there's over 2,000 islands that make up Greece.
What?
But I
Wow.
think
Well,
that
no.
was pretty close.
Yeah, man.
No wonder Odysseus couldn't make it home in time.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
a lot of islands to hit to bang ladies on the way home. That's
Yep.
a lot of islands, guys. A lot of islands. A lot of sirens. 2,000. I would not have guessed that high, but I feel like I should get partial credit for using the phrase Ionian Sea.
I agree.
No, it's really
you get
nice.
4 points for that answer. 4 points.
I'll take it. I'm grubby.
And I don't know why I made the connection of this next question, but maybe you can help me out.
Okay.
I don't know. There's a
It's
disclaimer.
about.
There's a disclaimer.
Oh, I know, because of Greece. I'm so stupid. Because of Greece.
Okay.
Who's
Like
the only
musical.
student to appear in Grease and Grease 2?
I knew it. That musical. I knew it. The only student to appear in Grease and Grease 2. Oh, it had to have been the Pink Ladies, right? The the I'm a slut and don't judge me, that lady.
I think you're close.
Now that's all I have for you because that movie came out when I was very, very young.
Yeah.
And
It was
also
Frenchie.
All the teenagers in it were 40. Frenchie.
Frenchie.
Yeah, Frenchie. Okay. All right.
But were you thinking of Rizzo?
I was
Oh,
thinking of Rizzo.
Rizzo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen,
Even when you said Frenchie, I was thinking of Rizzo.
Rizzo,
Right. Rizzo's the best.
Okay.
And Rizzo, by the way, in that movie is like 42.
Oh, yeah.
All
my
of them are
God.
42. All of them. It was like 40, the range of 38 to 45 was the age of those people.
Oh.
Olivia Newton-John has just birthed her third child. Jeez.
And she's wearing leather pants.
Looks amazing. I mean, come on, the body was rocking. She's planning for Tato. Talk about a MILF.
Wow. Aisha, you got 32 points this
Nice.
this
Take it.
episode.
Nicely
32
done.
points.
It sounds exciting until you tell me it's on a scale of 100, but I'll take it.
We don't even know what the upper limit is yet.
Right, we have no idea. We have no idea.
So you're telling me that that could even be lower than what I put out there.
Yeah.
1,000 points.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Well, we're going to wrap this one up, and I'm going to go pee. But before that, do you have anything you want to tell people about? Anything coming up?
Oh, ooh, I wasn't prepared. Season 18 of Criminal Minds Evolution.
Wow.
Will have started or will be starting streaming on Paramount Plus on May 8th.
Sweet.
I think I directed the second episode, so check that one out. Very
Fun.
exciting. And I'm voicing Lena Luthor on this season of Harley Quinn.
Awesome.
Ah,
That's great.
Yeah,
Awesome.
that's fun. Oh, wait, I'm so dumb. I have a much bigger, those
What?
things are very important. I have a cocktail company.
Right.
I have a cocktail company. I have a cocktail company. It's called Losophy, pronounced like philosophy, and it's a line of super premium organic ready-to-drink cocktails, which sounds a little healthier than they are, but they're delicious. And our first cocktail is a margarita. It's 100% organic. It is so delicious. Listen, guys, I know I'm overpitching here, but I worked on this thing for 5 years,
Wow.
and it is unbelievably tasty. And all ready-to-drink margaritas are made with like malt liquor, and they add the tequila flavoring, so they pretty much taste like acid.
And they're like heartburn starters.
Yes, yes, exactly. I had one the other. I always drink them if I find a ready-to-drink marg. I drink it. So like the other day I was getting tacos, and I was like, this tastes like a Bartles and James wine cooler that sat in the trunk of my car for 20 years.
Yeah.
They're all so bad.
Yeah.
This thing is organic. It's foolproof, so it's a ready-to-drink margarita right out of the bottle, 24%. It is so tasty, and we can ship to almost anywhere in the United States. So
amazing.
Just visit us at lostbeat.com, and we'll send you margaritas to your house.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give people a discount code right now.
Okay.
That's how excited I am.
Yay.
So if you go Organico, which is Spanish for organic, Organico 20, or all one word, Organico 20, we'll get you 20% off margaritas.
Amazing.
And, listen, guys, this is the year to drink. If you've been holding back and you thought, is drinking for me? I feel like global conditions indicate that now might be the time to start.
Now's the time.
Something, it might as well be that.
Now's the time.
Yes, because now you have something to point to. They go, why are you drinking so much? Be like, have you read the news? See, before you had no excuse, but now you do.
All right. Thanks, guys. This has been Rephrasing, an Archer Rewatch podcast. You can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at rephrasingpod. Email us questions at rephrasingpod@gmail.com. Please, no pictures of your penis. That's just inviting pictures of their penis, isn't it? Rephrasing is produced by Amber Nash, Casey Willis, and Christian Danley. Our theme song is by Matt Hobbs. I'd like to say a special thank you to Raymond Carr, Jasmine Nash, and Jonathan Strickland. And don't forget, FX's Archer is now streaming on Hulu.